Vanavond in Zembla Internationaal een reportage uit Canada over telefoonverslaving. Het digitale tijdperk is een walhalla voor informatiejunks.
So this one I've had on for about 3 days now, and it's been collecting my heart rate variability. It also has a built-in accelerometer, so it can understand the speed at which you're moving.
Dataverslaafden kunnen er geen genoeg van krijgen. Maar al die informatie, berichten en foto's wordt anderen wel eens te veel.
At the moment I have 126,238 emails.
There's so much coming at us every day. It's possible to consume news 24/7 if you want to.
Met de smartphone en de tablet, altijd binnen handbereik, ligt een digiverslaving op de loer.
The moment you sit still, the screen comes out and the face becomes blue and lit up and everyone's in their own world.
We zijn dag en nacht verbonden met het internet. Maar daar zijn ook spionnen die stiekem met ons mee kunnen kijken.
People are capturing all kinds of information about their health. Is that something that you want an insurance company to have? Is that something you want your employer to have?
Toch surfen we gewoon door. In Amerika komt een tegenbeweging op gang. Daar is zelfs een afkikkamp opgericht.
I was addicted to my smartphone. Constantly checking it, constantly wondering where it is, constantly needing it.
I would get the phantom buzzes. I would check my pocket for my phone automatically, and it was just kind of, oh, I don't have that anymore.
Zembla Internationaal onderzoekt waar eindigt onze verslaving aan data.
This is a number one priority, is getting the data genie back in the bottle.
Door de digitale revolutie maken we nu meer foto's in 1 maand dan vroeger in een heel mensenleven. Vorig jaar werden wereldwijd naar schatting 900 miljard foto's gemaakt. Er staan honderden, zo niet duizenden foto's en filmpjes op onze smartphones en computers. Maar hoe kunnen we ze terugvinden?
I will suggest that the more photos you have, the harder they are to find. Okay.
Dana Mackinson is een digital organizer. Ze wordt ingehuurd door mensen die zich geen raad meer weten met alle foto's en filmpjes op hun computer. Ook veel is het overzicht volledig kwijt.
It's really overwhelming. I mean, I've 11,000, 12,000 pictures on that computer. And every time I want to try to find a particular photo, it's just insurmountable. So when I met Dinah, it was something that I really needed.
Not too long ago, you used to go on a vacation, you'd come home with 36 photos. And now you come home with 1,000. And they just keep piling and piling up. It's so easy to just go click, click, click as the sun is going down. The thing is, you don't need 1,000 pictures of your vacation. I mean, I've had calls from people who have 30,000 photographs. That's a lot of photographs.
Hi, I'm Nora Young. Like, how many thousands of photographs do we have on our, on our hard drives or on Facebook? Are you even looking at them? Are they even meaningful to you?
In 2005, when Pope Benedict was named, there's a picture that shows folks at the Vatican all watching this happen. And in 2013, when Pope Francis is named, there's a picture and it shows just about everybody in the audience holding up some sort of a device, a tablet, a smartphone. And that is a pretty dramatic comparison of just 8 years ago. I wish that people could put them down a little more often. It can still be just as meaningful to you if you don't take 20 photos of it or post on every social media and kind of just be there.
People start taking pictures of things we would not have taken pictures of before. Like, here's a weird little street scene. Here's a picture of myself, a selfie. Here's a picture of a food. This food photography thing has become huge. You see them in restaurants sort of craning, trying to get the right angle on their dinner. And you're like, what are you doing? They're like, I really want to get a picture of this, right?
Restauranthouders in New York hebben schoon genoeg van de voedselfotorage.
Cameras have changed the restaurant experience because it is taking the joy out of just looking at your food and eating your food. It has created a wall between you and your experience of eating. So you get your food in front of your plate and somebody wants to take a picture of it and you're saying, well, can I eat my food? Can I eat it now? No, can you move it over there to the light? Yeah, more and more restaurants are banning cameras. They're asking people not to take pictures of the food so that they don't disrupt other diners around them and so that they actually do enjoy the food as the chef intended it to be enjoyed.
This is a phenomenon that people have started to do, and now we're starting to see restaurateurs push back and say, you know what, just eat, eat the damn food.
We worden niet alleen bedolven onder foto's. Er zijn sms-berichten, apps, mails, tweets, nieuwsberichten, weerupdates en meer digitale afleidingen waar maar geen eind aan lijkt te komen.
At the moment, I have 126,238 emails, of which over 86,000 are unread. Unread emails, 86,000 unread. It's insane. Imagine if that was letters, like piling up on my doorstep, and I couldn't leave the house. I feel as though there's an information avalanche coming at me. The email never ends. There's photos on my phone that I can't find, and text messages, mostly just email, piling up constantly, even right now while I'm talking. It just grows. It grows all the time. It's growing now.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by technology because there's so much coming at us every day. It's possible to consume news 24/7 if you want to. You could do it from the second you wake up until when you go to bed.
There's no space to just think and to just exist and to, in essence, just be human. We pull the device out and we're on Twitter or Instagram or email or whatever it is that we're doing. And instead of being on a bus or a street corner, all these spaces in your day that were pauses or a place to be with community are now a space where we're pulling our phones out and we become consumed for 7 seconds until the crosswalk says walk. And I look at our phones as being time travel devices. It's, you know, you look in it and I can Skype in Chicago, or I can look up information, you know, about what's going on in Thailand or in China. And because I can do that, it's really hard to be present. And so you start thinking, when did the time of day go when you just could exist and be? Buses, doctor's offices. No, now everyone is like this. The moment you sit still, the screen comes out and the face becomes blue and lit up and everyone's in their own world.
You can get information on anything, but it is like trying to drink from a fire hose. That how do you extract what is useful or helpful to you when you have this like blast of data coming at you all the time?
Er kan nu 2000 keer zoveel data opgeslagen worden dan 10 jaar geleden. En die capaciteit verdubbelt elk 1,5 jaar. Het gebruik van internet is populair, ook in Nederland. 90% van de Nederlanders zoekt dagelijks naar koopjes en informatie op het web. Maar terwijl we surfen, wordt stiekem ook veel informatie over ons verzameld. Julia Angwin is journalist en schreef een boek over de onzichtbare kant van het internet.
On a site like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, any newspaper site really, there will be dozens usually of invisible tracking devices on the web page. These are all advertisers generally, and then they want to see where you go next. So often they're on many pages on the internet, so they can develop a profile of you.
Via internet zijn verschillende programma's te downloaden, zoals Disconnect. Die kunnen laten zien hoeveel bedrijven ons achtervolgen. Het aantal spionnen kan enorm oplopen, zoals hier tot 60. We worden voortdurend in de gaten gehouden als we internetten. Soms worden onze gegevens verkocht via online veilingen.
After they've gotten a little bit of a sense of who you are, the next time you show up somewhere, you would be instantly, as the page is loading, it's like, okay, he's arrived. Somebody want to bid on showing an ad to this guy, and then there's a live auction to sell you, and then they place an ad tailored just for you because all those advertisers have been like in line waiting for a man who likes sports and pet supplies and news, and they want to bid on that person. If you ever look for something and then you see an ad following you around the web, it's because you've basically been sold.
Maar dit weerhoudt mensen er niet van om het internet op te gaan om data te verzamelen. Met allerlei apparaatjes en apps is het bijvoorbeeld mogelijk om lichamelijke functies en prestaties te meten.
People are collecting a lot more data about themselves. You know, if you're someone who jogs, you know, odds are you've got one of these Fitbits or something that tracks your running, you know. If you're someone who is on a diet, odds are you've maybe got one of these scales that auto records, you know, what your weigh-in is every time.
We are wearing things that track how fast we run. We're monitoring the amount of oxygen in our bloodstreams. It's not an unusual activity to track your reactions to the restaurants you go to. And the length of time that it's taken to go from being this very niche, fringe, geek behavior to a normal, everyday habit has just been the blink of an eye, practically. Just about anything you want stats about your sex life, you can get anything. We're sort of drunk on numbers, I think. We like that objectivity that it seems to give us.
Niemand is meer verslaafd aan dit soort data dan deze mensen. Ze hebben zelfs een groep opgericht die de nieuwste technologie gebruikt om zoveel mogelijk informatie over zichzelf te verzamelen. Ze krijgen er een kick van en worden daarom ook wel dataseksuelen genoemd.
Does this record any noise you could make, or is it just movement, just motion?
De lijfspreuk van de aanhangers van deze beweging is zelfkennis door getallen.
I'm Stephen Dean. I've tracked how many calories I burn. I've tracked what I've eaten. I've tracked protein, carbohydrate, and fat intake. I have tracked my eczema.
My name is Amy Merrill, and I've tracked food and sleep and lately my period. I've actually started the very first New York Quantified Self Female meetup. We call it QSXX.
I'm Dan Cantor. I track running, I track the steps I take, I track how I sleep, and I track my mood.
What's your mood?
My mood right now, extremely happy.
In 2006, I listened to 26,059 songs.
Nicholas Felton is een bekende Amerikaanse infografische ontwerper en lid van de groep. Hij maakt zelfs jaarverslagen van zijn persoonlijke statistieken. Felton houdt steeds weer wat anders bij.
Over the course of this project, I've tracked all the miles that I've traveled in the course of the year. One of the things I kept track of was all the meats that I ate. And so here I've created a taxonomy. It's my own organizational principle for how those meats tallied up between legs, wings, fins, shells, and no shells. And here you can basically see a bar graph of those different creatures, with fins being the most popular.
De datajunks houden bij alle activiteiten op elk moment van de dag precies bij hoe ze zich voelen. Ze willen hiermee patronen ontdekken om de formule te kunnen vinden voor geluk. Ze kunnen zich niet voorstellen dat er mensen bestaan die dat overdreven vinden.
Why wouldn't you want to know everywhere you've been over the last year or your entire life? I think it's fascinating.
Data can make my life better, for sure. And happiness through numbers is absolutely the truth and what's going to happen. If it's already happening now for a lot of us, and as this gets bigger, I'll say that the numbers will help us all achieve happiness eventually.
The amount of sensors that we have in our cars, we can understand our car at any given moment in terms of the health of our car. We don't do anything like that with our body. We get our blood pressure measured every 6 months, twice a year. Why are we not getting our blood pressure measured continuously? Why are we not getting our glucose and blood sugar measured continuously?
This is Sleep Tracker. I use it to track the quality of my sleep. This is Tinky. I use it to measure my stress levels, my breathing rates, and my heart rate. I also measure my mood, my happiness, my stress levels. I do a couple of cognitive tests to see how alert I am, and it reports me how, in general, my health level is at this point, my physical health. 84 is good number.
I think what's happening is people are becoming almost like little data scientists about themselves. They're trying to figure out what are the patterns that govern their lives.
This device is a biofeedback device that I use daily to lower my stress. You basically just I clip this little thing to my ear, it'll upload the data later. So this is a blood pressure monitor. I wear this each morning to measure my blood pressure by simply connecting it to my iPhone, and I can then upload this to a server to analyze, along with things like my weight and other data points. So this one I've had on for about 3 days now, and it's been passively collecting my heart rate variability. It also has a built-in accelerometer, so it can understand if you're sitting, if you're running, if you're driving, just the speed at which you're moving. So this is a transcranial direct stimulation device. So the device is running a small current across my prefrontal cortex, stimulating certain parts of my brain that, in this case, focus on attention. So you just use this for about 5 minutes a day, and it will allow you to really be set up for the rest of the day. You've got your body into a good state to kind of go out and take on whatever life throws at you.
De mobiele telefoon en tablet van Bob Troya staan vol met apps die hem de hele dag door opmeten en stimuleren. Zelfs zijn lichaamshouding wordt gecorrigeerd.
Oh, and if I come forward, you'll see it opposite, and then it starts buzzing me, meaning, hey Bob, you know, you got to correct your posture there. You're getting a little sloppy. So as you go back, you'll see the little guy on screen kind of mimic what you're doing, and he gets sad. As you go forward, you'll see it likewise, and you'll see the character go from smiling to not so happy.
The idea is to collect as much data about myself and my life as possible. It's a process of self-discovery. For example, I learned things like I tend to be more happy on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I tend to be least happy on Tuesdays. So it's one of my research studies is to find out what the reasons are.
I'm using my data to understand, analyze, and optimize all aspects of my life. That's my goal. We're never going to reach perfection, but it's a great thing to strive for. I want to be an optimal human being. I mean, that's kind of a cocky thing to say, but it just means like I'm striving to be the best person I can be. And not about me and my health. It could be things like, how do you measure friendship? How do you become a better person? How do you measure gratitude? Like these are other areas that people are getting into now that are just as important as checking your pulse and measuring your weight.
Nick Felton probeerde zelfs een jaar lang om vriendschap te meten.
So this is 2012. Every time the app that I designed buzzed me, I listed who I was with. And so this gave me a broad understanding of who I spent time with. Here you can see my girlfriend Olga is the furthest right. I had almost 1,000 reports with her. Next to her is my business partner and my cat.
How much time did you spend with your cat?
There's probably about 500 reports with the cat.
De technologische ontwikkeling maakt het steeds makkelijker om informatie te verzamelen. De bits en bytes kunnen nu zelfs door kleding gemeten worden. Zo houdt dit slimme shirt de hartslag, ademhaling en longinhoud bij.
We actually believe that clothing that collect data will be ubiquitous. It will become the norm. You'll go to the store to buy a shirt or to buy underwear. You could see bras, you could see socks, and you will expect it to be a piece of garment that collects data on you.
Currently, I am wearing the shirt, and the shirt is streaming my data to the phone. And I have access to information such as my current breathing rate. You see, it's quite elevated. It's not a normal scenario. It's quite elevated because we don't sit in front of the camera every day.
I think the sort of data tracking clothing is going to become a huge thing because you have boomers getting older. They're going to want shoes that automatically track every step. They're going to want shirts that track their heart rate automatically. They're going to want, mobile phones that when you pick it up, record their skin glands and report their mood. I absolutely think it's going to become a common thing. We're going to be getting more and more data about our everyday lives. We're going to become like quantified self people.
Critici zijn bezorgd. Ze vragen zich af, wie krijgt straks toegang tot al die medische gegevens?
Whenever you track yourself, the company that gave you that device they're tracking you too. That their heartbeat is your heartbeat is their heartbeat. They've got the file there of your sweat, and so they can do what they want with it. Medical data is a particularly sensitive category of data because you might not want your employer, for instance, to know about some medical condition because these days your employment and health benefits are tied together, at least in the United States, and so that can be harmful. Also, you might not want your insurance company to know that you're just researching or you're concerned about diabetes. We don't actually have it, but they would love to charge you higher premiums if they could just say, oh yeah, you definitely have this condition or that condition. And so there's a disincentive to find out information about your own health if you think it's going to be used against you. And right now, it can very well be. We're in not just an information deluge, but we're actually in an information war.
This is a #1 priority, is getting the data genie back in the bottle in terms of who owns the data, especially when you start thinking about the intimate level of data that you're capturing. And people are capturing all kinds of information about their health. Is that something that you want an insurance company to have? Is that something you want your employer to have?
We get enormous benefits from the broadcasting of our data, but we're put at enormous political and civic risk because it exposes us to powerful forces, to corporations, to insurance companies that deny us claims because they claim to have found some trend in our data, to employers who fire us because they claim to have found something we did that's nefarious on our Facebook.
Steve Mann is een bekende Canadese computeringenieur, hoogleraar en uitvinder. Hij draagt al meer dan 30 jaar deze gecomputeriseerde bril. Dat is ver voor de tijd van Google's Glass. De draagbare computer van Google in de vorm van een bril.
So I called it digital eyeglass because when you're wearing glass like this, it looks like your eye is made of glass.
De eerste modellen van de computerbril waren nog niet erg verfijnd. Maar in 30 jaar tijd is de bril meegegroeid met de technologische ontwikkelingen.
So for example, I can see in complete darkness and see really bright things as well. Like if there's a car headlights shining in my face in a dark alley, I can see the driver's face and the license plate as well. One of the examples we see in the space class is the chess game. Because we're wearing space glasses, I can walk up to any table and have a game of chess with somebody by moving pieces that we see, but nobody else sees.
Volgens Mann zou je met de bril zelfs objecten met je handen in de lucht kunnen ontwerpen, die daarna met een 3D-printer gemaakt kunnen worden.
Data is one thing that's very present in this world. So we see everything through the computer. It sort of gets rid of the distinction between cyberspace and the real world. The whole world itself becomes online in some sense. In 10 years, I think most people will be wearing digital eyeglass of some kind.
We're basically turning ourselves into computers, but we're still human. So I'll say the post-human that we're going to become, it's going to be really exciting. You know, I look at it as evolution, to be honest with you.
In some sense, our instincts have been ruined or confused. You know, with all the advertising we receive, we look at the billboard and it shows us a whiskey. And it shows us people having a great time. Well, this is giving us the instinct that we should drink some of that whiskey. But our computer could actually look and say, hey, wait a minute, that whiskey is going to bring about liver disease. So based on the condition that your body's in right at the moment, it could really use some kale. There are certain situations in which good scientific data can often help us more than instinct.
Steve Mann might be right that we will be cyborgs. I hope not, but I'm not. Would I put money on the fact that we're not going to become cyborgs? I don't know that I would.
Criticasters denken dat we nu al overbelast worden door alle data. Infobesitas ligt op de loer. Zo waarschuwt Daniel Seberg, senior marketing manager bij het Amerikaanse hoofdkantoor van Google.
I'm Daniel Seberg, and I'm a recovering tech addict. I may not be the worst example of somebody who lost their life to technology, but it got pretty bad. Instead of being more in touch with the people we care about, we often feel disconnected. And juggling all these gadgets and devices, well, it can leave us feeling exhausted and distracted and take us away. I mean, I was sending out emails, I was sending out texts, I was sending out, yeah, sure, Twitter messages, I was on Facebook. You know, I was on a lot of different social networks back then. Really, I treated everybody the same. I didn't know that, you know, my stepbrother at the time was going through a divorce, that my father was talking about getting married, that you know, my sister had some health issues. All these things had somehow escaped me, which sounds crazy now, but back then I was just too immersed in the online world and didn't have that balance with the offline world. It's very easy to reach out to people in other parts of the world, in other parts of the country, and kind of leap over the people who are right in front of you and not think about how to treat them better, and I certainly fell victim to that.
I started to give him a little bit of a nickname. I started to call him Glowworm because at night we'd be in bed and all of a sudden I'd be aware of this beaming light illuminating his face.
Het Canadese model Lally Luck was verslaafd aan Twitter. Ze besteedde een jaar lang zoveel tijd aan haar tweets dat ze niet meer toekwam aan het echte leven.
I was using Twitter all day, throughout my entire day, definitely. From the moment I woke up, I would open Twitter to the minute I went to bed. And then one day I just realized, I don't know any of these people. I don't know who they are. And I'm dedicating a huge amount of my time daily into their lives, into like feeding them and entertaining them, and I don't even know them.
Nadat ze ermee stopte, heeft ze nooit meer op Twitter gekeken. Ze is bang dat de verslaving het dan weer overneemt.
I was making my virtual life better than my real life, definitely. My virtual life mattered a lot more than my real life at that time because I was constantly saving my thoughts for Twitter instead of speaking about them. I would hang out with a friend after I deleted my Twitter, and it was so different. I was getting so much more out of my hanging out with my friends. I wasn't spending all my time on my phone. I was connected with them.
Daniel Seberg was ook verslaafd. Om af te kicken van zijn smartphone en tablet ging hij 8 maanden op digitaal dieet. Hij schreef er een boek over.
So, the digital diet is all about consuming technology in a healthy way, much like you would think of with food. How does it affect our body? What's our caloric intake? Same goes for data. You can probably binge on data and think, gosh, what did I get out of that? Or you can kind of think, all right, what's the best way to, read my email at certain times of the day? We need to find a way to ingest this in a way that's not harmful to ourselves, so that it doesn't feel like you're just overwhelmed all the time with everything that's coming into you. What time of day are you officially in the interwebs and you're connected and you're responding to emails and everything else? Is that when you wake up in the morning? Is that after your first cup of coffee? Is it when you get to work? Is it on the train? Is it in the car? And at the end of the day, when do you stop? Is it after dinner? Is it at 9 o'clock? Is it when you're watching television? Is it when you fall asleep with your phone smushed against your face on the pillow?
Langzaam ontstaan meer initiatieven om mensen van hun dataverslaving af te helpen. Zoals Camp Grounded in Californië, de bakermat van internet. Hier is een data-afkikkamp voor volwassenen opgericht.
They enter the tech check, where they come in, we have people wearing hazmat suits, and they turn in their cell phones and their Fitbits, or we're relieving them of their toxic technologies. And then we put them in a brown paper bag. For 4 days, we then lock it up, and no one has a watch, no one has a digital camera, and no one has a screen.
Levi Felix was een aantal jaar geleden directeur van zijn eigen ICT-bedrijf. Hij werkte 7 dagen per week en was dag en nacht bereikbaar. Maar toen hij met een burn-out in het ziekenhuis terechtkwam, stopte hij met werken. Hij maakte een wereldreis van 2,5 jaar en richtte daarna dit afkikkamp op.
I'm in the internet business, and I'm wired pretty much from when I wake up to when I go to bed. 18, 16 hours a day. When I put up the camp, I almost turned around. Because they were giving out free hugs at the entrance. And I accidentally wandered in some sort of hippie remake of Woodstock. I almost turned around, but I didn't. And I stuck it through and kind of went outside my comfort zone. I'm glad I did.
So a number of campers will tell me, I felt like I had a vibration in my pocket, or in my purse, I thought I heard my phone, and then I remembered I don't even have it on me anymore.
I think I did that like every 10 minutes. I think every 10 minutes I was checking my pocket, like, oh, it's still gone. Right, that's okay.
I would get the phantom buzzes. I would check my pocket for my phone automatically, and it was just kind of, oh, I don't have that anymore.
We wanted to replace some of the things that people normally get online. One, search. People love the search. People love talking about a movie, and they instantly want to look up, who's that actor? And there's this, we got to know right now. So at camp, we created a human-powered search engine where if you have a question about anything, you post it on this big board, and you go back later, and there'll be all these answers from random people at camp who've pinned up their answer to the question.
De 300 volwassenen kunnen zich tijdens het kamp vermaken met boogschieten, dansen, rotsklimmen, zwemmen, yoga en een talentenjacht. Alles mag, behalve sms'en, mailen of foto's maken.
The thing that surprised me about not having all that stuff was how little I missed it. It was liberating because I didn't have to check in with anyone other than myself. Like, I didn't have to keep, presenting myself to my friends on the internet, letting them know what I was up to. I just had to do things that I enjoyed doing.
De bezoekers genieten ook van de ouderwetse typemachine.
When you make a mistake, you can't erase it. And the mistakes that are in there are okay because you're a human. You're not auto-correcting. You don't have spell checker. And that's beautiful.
one of the key elements. I was addicted to my smartphone, constantly checking it, constantly wondering where it is, constantly needing it. You know, needing to kind of go to a retreat to get to not need it. That sounds like, you know, that sounds like addiction to me. I still do wake up with my phone, but I tend to be something I check into rather than it drives me. You know, I'm notorious now amongst some of my friends for not getting back to them for hours. But that's, you know, I check into the phone when I want to check into the phone.
I took Facebook off my phone. I took all the social apps off my phone. If I'm with my friends, I put my phone away or I put it on Do Not Disturb. I can check it later. There's nothing so... I can't think of anything that is more important than spending time with my friends now.
And so it's more important than ever to step back and to unplug, whether it's for lunch or for a day, a Sabbath of sorts, or whether it's for a digital detox for a weekend. Our motto is disconnect to reconnect. It's about what happens when you put away your devices and you reconnect with yourself. You reconnect with the people around you and maybe connect with things that you didn't even know that you valued and loved.
We're developing a new set of guidelines when it comes to using our technology, that it's not okay to just pull out your phone in the middle of a conversation, that it's not okay to sort of, you know, just be online on social media, but never pay attention to your friends in real life.
Around Friday night, I stopped checking email. And I don't really check it again until maybe late Sunday night or Monday morning. And so I get all the joys and strengths and serendipity that come from being very connected, but I also get those joys that come from the very slow-paced, I'm going to read a book for 3 hours, I'm just going to have a conversation for 2 hours, from that type of thinking.
Is it okay to look at a screen together when you're out for dinner? We're starting to see people say things like, no, cell phones go on the table when we're out for dinner, no one can touch them. Or, you know, you're not welcome to bring cameras into this party.
In New York is zelfs een nieuw restaurantspel ontstaan. Phone stacking. De mobiele telefoons worden op tafel bovenop elkaar gestapeld. De eerste die opneemt, moet de drank betalen.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah, right. Okay, sorry.
Really expensive.
This is a wonderful little game, right? It's a way of creating a social contract at the dinner table saying we are not going to look at our phones, we're only going to talk to each other. It's actually quite rare in New York City now to be in a cafe or restaurant and have someone answer the phone serially over and over again.
Ook voor de enorme hoeveelheid foto's in onze telefoons en computers is een eenvoudige oplossing te vinden.
Let's take your child's play and you're looking at it through the lens of your camera. You're not seeing the big picture, you're only seeing what you're looking at through the lens, which is kind of sad because if you watch it like that, you're not there in the moment, are you?
There's something really special about having those moments where you don't have a camera and you know that something is fleeting and you say, this is special and I'm going to remember it, right? If you're constantly documenting everything, are you really absorbing it?
In dit digitale tijdperk ligt de dataverslaving op de loer. De signalen zijn duidelijk, maar daar zijn we zelf vaak blind voor.
A few warning signs that you may be addicted to technology in some way or maybe need to take a step back. If you see a flashing light on your smartphone in some way and think, oh boy, I better check that, and you just can't let it go, then that may be a sign. You are sort of always looking down as you're walking, and that's something that people do a lot. But if you are always bumping into someone and you just can't put your phone away for a while and just do one or the other, I always tell people to at least pull over like a car. Like, just get out of the way of everybody else if you have to look at your device, but don't do it while you're trying to navigate a sidewalk.